If you're thinking about buying a pressure cooker, you probably want one that can actually make your life easier, not another appliance that ends up sitting in a cabinet. The good news is that today's electric pressure cookers can do much more than pressure cook. Many can slow cook, steam, sauté, make rice, and even replace several other appliances. The tricky part is figuring out which one gives you the features you actually need without paying for things you'll never use. So today, we're looking at 5 pressure cookers that stand out for very different reasons, from a versatile Kosori model to a compact Instant Pot designed for smaller kitchens. And if you like practical buying guides that help you choose the right product instead of simply the most expensive one, subscribe to Home and Kitchen Finds. Let's get started. Let's begin with a Kosori pressure cooker 6-quart, because this is a great alternative if you don't automatically want to buy an Instant Pot. The 6-quart capacity is designed for roughly 4 to 6 people, making it a practical size for families and meal prep. But what really makes this one interesting is just how much it can do. Kosori lists functions for pressure cooking, rice, steaming, slow cooking, sautéing, beans and grains, meat and poultry, sous vide, fermentation, sterilizing, and more. There's also a real-time progress display, customizable settings, and an angled steam release design intended to make venting easier. The removable inner pot and dishwasher-safe accessories also help with cleanup. One thing I particularly like here is that it doesn't feel like you're buying a pressure cooker and then discovering that you need 3 more appliances. You can sauté ingredients first, pressure cook the main meal, or switch to slow cooking depending on the recipe. The downside is that with this many functions, there's a little more to learn. And if you're only interested in basic pressure cooking, some of those extra programs may never get used. Still, if you want a 6-quart cooker with plenty of versatility and you'd rather have an alternative to the usual Instant Pot recommendation, the Kosori is a strong place to start. Then there's the Instant Pot Duo 7-in-1, the model that makes sense if you want the familiar all-purpose pressure cooker without getting overly complicated. It combines pressure cooking, slow cooking, sautéing, steaming, rice cooking, yogurt making, and keeping food warm. The 6-quart capacity is designed for up to about 6 servings, making it useful for families, meal prep, and batch cooking. One of the reasons the Duo remains such an easy recommendation is that the controls are straightforward. You also get one-touch programs for common foods, an easy-release steam switch, a stainless steel inner cooking pot, and dishwasher-safe components. Instant Pot also lists more than 10 safety mechanisms, including overheat protection and a safety lid lock. So who should buy it? I'd look at the Duo if you want something dependable and relatively uncomplicated. It's not trying to be the smartest cooker in your kitchen. It simply gives you the core functions most people actually need. The trade-off is that it doesn't have some of the more advanced controls and refinements found on the Pro models. If you're an experienced pressure cooker user who wants more customization, you may eventually want something higher end. For everyone else, though, the Duo is the classic middle ground option. If you're wondering whether you really need to spend more for an Instant Pot, the comfy 12-in-1 electric pressure cooker is worth a look. This 6-quart model offers 12 cooking functions, along with 14 preset programs, a digital control panel, dishwasher-safe components, and a 9-feature safety system. It's also rated for 4 to 6 people, so it's competing directly in that everyday family-sized category. The biggest reason to consider it is value. You get a lot of functionality without moving into premium pricing, and the controls are designed to be relatively easy to understand. This makes the comfy particularly appealing if you're buying your first electric pressure cooker and don't want to spend a lot before knowing how often you'll actually use one. There are compromises, of course. The Instant Pot ecosystem is more established, and if you already use Instant Pot recipes or accessories, sticking with Instant Pot may be more convenient. The comfy also doesn't have the same premium feel as the higher-end models on this list. But if your priority is getting a lot of cooking functions for your money, this is one of the models I'd compare before making a purchase. Now, if you're cooking for a larger household or simply want a more advanced pressure cooker, this is where the Instant Pot Pro 8-quart starts to make sense. The first thing you'll notice is the 8-quart capacity. That's a meaningful step up from the 6-quart models, particularly if you're preparing large batches, cooking for a family, or meal prepping. The Pro also brings 10 cooking functions, including pressure cooking, slow cooking, sous vide, sautéing, sterilizing rice, yogurt, baking, steaming, and warming. It has a large LCD display, 28 customizable programs, and 5 favorite settings that you can save for quick access. And that's really the difference between this and the standard Duo. You're not just getting a bigger pot. You're getting a more sophisticated control system and more room to experiment with different recipes. Of course, there's a downside to going this big. An 8-quart cooker takes up more space, weighs more, and can be excessive if you're usually cooking for 1 or 2 people. So, I wouldn't recommend the Pro simply because it's the most advanced model here. I'd recommend it if you actually need the extra capacity and customization. And finally, we have the Instant Pot 4-quart Rio Mini 7-in-1 multi-cooker, which solves a completely different problem. Not everyone needs a 6 or 8-quart pressure cooker. If you're cooking for yourself, a partner, or a small household, a huge appliance can take up valuable counter and storage space without giving you much extra benefit. The Rio Mini has a 4-quart capacity and 7 cooking functions, including pressure cooking, slow cooking, sautéing, steaming, rice, yogurt, and warming. Instant Pot says the capacity is suitable for up to 4 servings. It also has a wide cooking surface similar to an 8-inch pan, an anti-spin inner pot, a cooking progress indicator, front-facing steam release, and dishwasher-safe components. The smaller size is obviously its biggest advantage, but it's also its biggest limitation. If you're regularly cooking large batches or preparing food for a big family, you'll probably outgrow it quickly. For a student, couple, single person, or anyone with a small kitchen, though, the Rio Mini is a much more sensible choice than buying an oversized cooker just because it has more capacity. So, which pressure cooker should you actually buy? The Cosori Pressure Cooker 9-in-1 is a great choice if you want lots of cooking functions and want an alternative to Instant Pot. The Instant Pot Duo 7-in-1 is the straightforward choice for someone who wants a dependable, family-sized pressure cooker without unnecessary complexity. The Comfy is the one I'd consider if getting plenty of features for your money is the priority. The Instant Pot Pro 8-quart makes more sense for larger households and people who want more capacity and customization. And the Instant Pot 4-quart Rio Mini is the obvious choice for smaller households where counter space and portion size matter more than maximum capacity. The important thing is not to get distracted by the number of cooking programs. A cooker advertising 12 or 14 functions isn't necessarily better for you than one with 7. What matters is whether you'll actually use those functions, whether the capacity fits your household, and whether the appliance makes cooking easier. Because the best pressure cooker isn't necessarily the one with the longest feature list. It's the one you'll actually use. If this video helped you narrow down your options, give it a like and subscribe to Home and Kitchen Finds for more practical kitchen product comparisons, buying guides, and useful finds. You'll find links to all 5 pressure cookers featured in this video in the description below. If you decide to purchase through one of those links, we may earn a small commission at no additional cost to you, which helps support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.